Well, welcome to our review of 2020 continued, and we're with a young man who landed me in quite a bit of trouble in the Ledger. He was our man on the ground at Limerick during the Ledger. It is Paul Maher. Paul, a good year. Of course, you did land me in a bit of bother, telling the boys that I gave Cash Ready no chance in their winning interview. Thanks for that. But all in all, you had a good year on the track front.
You landed yourself in that one, I think, Ian. But yeah, it was a great year, I suppose. It was jam-packed from 6 months, from June after lockdown, right up to, I suppose, last Saturday, the whole lot. Great credit due to the team at Selachii Legal and I suppose bringing out the calendar and trying to fit every competition in. I know we lost to Kirby just from a Limerick point of view, but we'll hopefully be back in 2021 with a great renewal of the competition, I suppose. I'm going to keep some of my moments now for, I'm going to be like Barry, I'm going to say it nice and local. But a great year, no doubt. There were some great performances just from a Limerick point of view, and of course in Shelburne as well, and all around the country. So plenty to talk about.
I must say now, you're looking pretty fresh. You're looking fresher than Barry Drake was when I recorded with him yesterday. As we're speaking now, it's just a couple of days after Limerick's All-Ireland success. Were you a bit shook yesterday, perhaps?
I was on the tired side, all right, but I didn't do the dog on it, but it was a great win. Great to get it, and fair play to all the Limerick hurlers. It brought great joy into the living rooms in Limerick, and I suppose all over the country as well. So definitely made, I suppose, the lockdown and I suppose living with the virus and the current restrictions a little bit easier.
Yeah, as a dub, like I'm hoping that we'll get a bit of joy out of an All-Ireland success too. It's a shame every county can't win All-Ireland during lockdown.
It is definitely, and I suppose now we're from counties now. They want to split in two too, so might be a little bit harder from next year onwards. But no, great.
Well, I've been saying for years they should let Cork just float away into the Atlantic. Do you know? Now I'm not going to add Limerick to that as well.
I'm sure Mr. Drake wouldn't be too happy with that now either.
Listen, we'll get stuck into it, Paul. What's your first moment that you want to highlight?
I suppose from a personal point of view, it was a great honour to be one of the lucky few to watch the racing and report and be able to do the interviews with owners and trainers from the Friends of Limerick Irish St. Ledger 2020. I couldn't have asked for. It was the owners and trainers were more than helpful. Told me little tips and everything the whole last year, because it's probably my first time doing something like this, and they were all more than happy to accommodate me with interviews and everything like that. As I suppose on a personal level, that was it was a great honour, and of course to be one of the lucky few to be able to watch the racing. I suppose a great winner, an epic hero. Probably at the first spin the race was over, and Ballymac probably just missed it slightly or charged the boxes, I would say. So well done to Ger Hutton and the O'Donovan clan in Tiptown. But I suppose on a personal level, that was a great moment and everything, but the arrival of Newinn Taylor and Pestana probably was real up there as two absolute machines on the track. I suppose Pestana, when he won the Champion Stakes, people thought, right, will he really come alive in the Derby? And after his 28.99 run in Shelburne with your commentary, I was standing in Limerick with my father watching it, and there was no words to describe it. It was absolutely incredible.
It seems to be a moment that captured the world's attention. Pestana was just perfect on the night. It's rare you see a greyhound just so perfect. So there wasn't a toe out of place. Just everything went as you'd want a racing greyhound to run.
Yeah, pinged it from trap one and was probably all over. I know Newinn Taylor ran his heart out in second. He probably would have won it if Pestana wasn't in it. Would have won that night. But Pestana was a marvelous dog. It was unfortunate what happened to him in the final. But if you had one as half as good as him, half as brave as him, you wouldn't be doing too bad.
Indeed. So your moments are the Ledger and the performances of Pestana and Newinn Taylor during the Derby.
Yeah, and just coming back to Newinn Taylor, I suppose I obviously knew that he was a fair dog coming out of after doing 6 from 6. But then when I saw him in Limerick, the final of the Selachii Legal, I remember watching it, and he ran so wide down the back straight and then came off the final turn and he scored in 28, 37 or 38 or something like that. But I actually thought he was very like Lachlan Blake. I said, this is a real Derby dog. And that night, I saw him in the semi-final. I thought, yeah, very impressive. But then in the final, I was like, this dog is going to be a star. I thought he was a little bit like Lachlan Blake, just the way he ran. And then I suppose when he went to Shelburne, really took to the place and was a great winner of the Derby for a finish.
I suppose it's a great shame with these two greyhounds, Pastana and Newinn Taylor, that if you weren't from a certain part of the area, you mightn't have seen them live in the flesh. That's the problem with, you know, things going on behind closed doors. But you were lucky enough to see Newinn Taylor in the flesh, as you say, in that Selachii stake. That was in February, wasn't it? End of February, around that time. It was just before lockdown, but to see him in the flesh he was the real deal.
Yeah, and I suppose he really, I know people knew about him, he was unbeaten and everything, but he really, well, in my eyes, came to the fore, I suppose, and he was probably a dog that I did say to a lot of people, I thought, right, he's going to be very, very close in the Derby, he's going to probably relish Shelbourne. I suppose at that time he was an inside seed. He ran in the semi-final from Trap 2 and in the final from Trap 4. But that night, Trap 4, he ran kind of middle to wide course, and I thought, right, if they can get maybe a middle or wide seed, Graham Holland's a genius. He knows very well what he's doing. And when I saw him run around Shelbourne, I was like, yeah, this dog is he's really something.
Yeah, retiring now. I'm going to refer to him as a winner of 17 from 19 rather than 16 from 19, because there's no question in his final race he was on his way to an emphatic success. He signs off in style. We look forward to seeing his progeny in the future. Paul, tell us about yourself. Tell us about your involvement in greyhound racing. You have you have a leg in a couple yourself, do you?
We do. My father always had dogs, and my grandfather always had dogs and the whole lot, so I suppose it came from there. My dad's first cousin is Bet Keefe. He bred the Derby winner Kyle Jack in 1970 or 80, one or the other. My father, of course, had great success. He was looking years upon years ago, looking for a good, well-bred stable as Jovich, our lady, and James Roach had a lady that was about 29-40 class in the All Markets Field. Good little thing, and my father said, would he mind? Could he take her for breeding? And he got a lovely dog out of it, Maher's boy, I suppose. Joe Williams bought him as a pup office, and he named it after I suppose us, and sold it then on to Elaine and Sean Parker out of Newcastle West School and Track, and he went on to win the William Hill Classic in England. At that time it was worth 40,000, so I suppose it's been from there. A couple of years after that, my father got sick and he went out with dogs, but he's back into them now again, and couldn't really, I suppose he couldn't put down his day without the dogs now at this stage. He's retired now at this stage. So, but without the dogs, I suppose even during lockdown, without the dogs, we'd have gone insane, walking them and looking after them and bring them here and bring them there. And I suppose it's like a lot of people in Ireland, without the dogs, we wouldn't have had much else during the lockdown.
I know from a personal point of view, there's nothing like sharing a love for greyhound racing with your father.
Definitely, yeah. Your father was a genius on the mic as well, and I met him a few times in Limerick when I used to be working on the tote there, and he was a lovely fella and very knowledgeable as well, like yourself. We have a couple of dogs that race on Thursday nights and Saturday nights in Limerick. No Derby stars, but
you never know.
Entertained anyway.
Well, listen, we're all involved in the sport to pick up one, and you'll keep the search going.
We'll have to, most definitely.
Well, Paul, listen, I look forward to interviewing you some night in Shelbourne Park, and I'll try not to land you in a bit of bother, okay?
Yeah, hopefully. I hope you have your cash ready cooked there as well.
I do, of course. Look, always ready. Listen, Paul, thanks very much. Have a great Christmas, a great New Year, and hopefully you'll have plenty of winners in 2021.
Perfect. Thanks very much for having us this morning, Ian. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Paul.
1 Cash Ready, 2 Epic Hero, 3 Amazing Alice, 4 Ballymac Wild, 5 Mina Miracle, 6 Orn Don. In the ledger they're away in racing and 6 near side going okay. 1 and 2 Cash Ready, Epic Hero. The favourite is Ballymac Wild with ground to make up. Up front it's Trap 2 Epic Hero by 3 lengths from Cash Ready. 5 is third, 6 is next, 3 and 4 are the back markers. Trap 2 Epic Hero has a lead of 3 to 4 lengths on Cash Ready. About to hit the final bend, and Epic Hero, the blue jacket, is in front for Thomas O'Donovan off that final bend. We're going to have an upset here. It's 2, 1 and 5. Epic Hero wins the Friends of Limerick Irish Ledger Open 550 final of 2020. The winning time 29:44.
Here's the bunny. Away they go, 4 bombs out. Newinn Taylor showing a lot of foot to the bend, being followed by Romeo Speedy in second. Sitting third is Doolin Prince, Calara Icon on the outside of Lyrian Peacock. Goat Soul Paddy sees the ball. Newinn Taylor's opened up Limerick tonight, folks. He's gone ahead by 10-12. Up to the penultimate bend, this son of Droopy's Puke and Newinn Expert, trained by Graham Holland. For our sponsor, Simon Taylor is making an absolute facile, great 8 out of 8 at Limerick for 4 Newinn Taylor in a clock of 28:37.